Tony is in Bristol. Tony, what do you make of this policy, these lawyers who are doing this? And thanks very much for giving us a call. You're very welcome.
Well, I'd like to know if there's a group of lawyers who will challenge some of these zero carbon policies, because I was kind of peripheral to it, but there was a group set up here in Bristol to challenge the clean air zone that we've now got. And the irony of all this is that, basically it's the poorer people with older cars that have to pay it, and the people with the £70,000 Chelsea tractors don't pay a penny. So it's like a toll, basically, that anyone that comes in and out of Bristol now...
I think this is a really big part of it, Tony. It's like, can you afford to be as green as they want you to be? If you say, you've got to buy these 70 grand cars or even a 30 grand car, that's a heck of a lot of money to a lot of people who just want to get about and do their daily business.
Well, look, the irony is you've got environmentalists putting loads and loads and loads of cars on the scrap heap and a great pile. So that's not very environmental. There was a group in Manchester that did really well, and they stopped their clean air zone. But we approached, there was business owners involved, anti-poverty campaigners here in Bristol, approached our public law firm here. The idea was to stop it before it started. So a letter before action to the council. And the basis of it was that actually the nitrogen dioxide levels in the city, which is what the government has enforced from a law a few years ago, saying that cities have got to get these nitrogen dioxide levels down, were already below the limit. And so what was the point in them bringing in the clean air zone? And we had all the figures from the council's own website, where they've got all these air sampling sites. And DPG Law, who's the public law firm in Bristol, just refused to, when we had a fund and everything, they just refused to. So I think this policy...
Should they be allowed? Surely if they're a commercial business, maybe they should be allowed to refuse business they don't want.
Well, of course, it's up to them. But you'd have thought if they are a commercial business, here is £5,000, £6,000, £7,000 for them just to send a letter, that they would take it. But I think this policy's been going on for a while, actually.
An interesting one. Thank you so much, Tony. You make some really, really good points. Brian in Southend says, Peter, lawyers playing judge and jury, deciding which laws count and which don't. That's far more likely to precipitate the collapse of our society than any alleged climate emergency, says Brian. Thank you, Brian. Really makes me angry, says Diane in Somerset. Happy to say people should work until we drop because we can't afford the state pension, but happy to pay millions for migrants, money going to China, etc. And people who could but don't work, it doesn't add up for me either, says Diane in Somerset. That was the discussion we were having about the right retirement age.